Let's shift focus here on the right stand. The unrest in Iran and rising tensions across the Middle East have prompted a visible escalation in U.S. military posture, with the Pentagon redirecting the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group towards the Gulf region. Now, the move signals Washington's readiness for potential kinetic action as instability deepens in Iran and also in its regional network of proxies. U.S. defense officials say the redeployment is part of a broader effort to reinforce deterrence at a time when unrest inside Iran is intensifying and Tehran-aligned groups are stepping up missile launches, drone activity and militia threats across multiple fronts, including Iraq, Syria, the Red Sea and near Israel's borders. Pentagon officials stress that the mobilization is defensive in nature, aimed at deterring Iran and its proxies from widening the conflict. At the same time, the message is unmistakable. The United States is positioning itself to act decisively should attacks on U.S. personnel, partners or critical shipping lanes intensify. So let's break this down for you. USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft and some of its escort warships are heading towards the Middle East from South China Sea, and they departed San Diego in late November 2025, and with almost no fanfare. The Department of Defense did not announce where it would be deployed. It would take about 4 days for the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group to transit from the Indo-Pacific to the Middle East. So this is where it is, in the South China Sea somewhere, and it's going to find its way all the way around, accompanied by 3 destroyers. Well, the Carrier Strike Group includes these 3 destroyer-class escorts and 1 cruiser, bringing the group to 4 to 5 major surface combatants in addition to the carrier. So let's decode the USS Abraham Lincoln, the aircraft carrier. It's a Nimitz-class, nuclear-powered aircraft carrier commissioned in 1989 with more than 35 years of active service. This floating fortress weighs 100,000 tons and is powered by 2 nuclear reactors, giving it virtually unlimited range and the ability to operate anywhere in the world without refueling. Its Air Force delivers overwhelming force from the sky, including Super Hornet jets, Growler jets equipped with electronic warfare, Hawkeye aircraft for airborne command and control, and MH-60 Seahawk choppers for anti-submarine and rescue missions. Protecting the carrier are Arleigh-Burke-class destroyers guarding against air and submarine threats. These warships are armed with dozens of Tomahawk cruise missiles capable of striking targets up to 1,000 miles away. Now, the Carrier Strike Group is in addition to a significant U.S. military presence across the Middle East. In Turkey, there is the Incirlik Air Base, which hosts approximately 2,500 U.S. personnel, serving as a critical hub for air operations and regional logistics. In Iraq, about 2,000 troops remain deployed, focused on counter-terrorism missions and supporting local security forces across the border. In Syria, another 2,000 U.S. service members operate in key locations targeting extremist threats and stabilizing contested areas. Kuwait also hosts one of the largest U.S. footprints in the region, 13,000 personnel acting as major staging ground for ground and air forces. At the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, there are again 13,000 U.S. troops that are positioned and is the largest American military installation in the Middle East as a home to forward headquarters and air operations across the region. In Saudi Arabia, around 3,000 U.S. personnel are stationed to assist with air defense and regional deterrence. Naval support activity in Bahrain hosts approximately 7,000 personnel serving as the headquarters of the U.S. Fifth Fleet and ensuring maritime security across key waterways. In the United Arab Emirates, that is Abu Dhabi, Dubai, 5,000 U.S. troops support air naval logistics operations. In Oman, a smaller but strategically vital force of 600 personnel support access to key airfields and maritime routes. So what could be on the target list of the U.S. forces? IRGC command centers, the Basij militia infrastructure, Iranian police facilities, regime-linked economic assets. This is what will be on the target to weaken the hold of the regime. It's not going to be easy to break the regime. Let's go across to our guests. What do they see happening? And if time permits, we will also touch on the Greenland Gambit too, towards the latter half. But first, Iran. Lieutenant General D.P. Pandey, security analyst with us, Ambassador Rajiv Dogra, and Dr. Anand Ranganathan stay on with us. So let's quickly go across to them. Ambassador Rajiv Dogra, this is a strike movement, forces movement. Before I bring in General Pandey, what do you see happening? Are you willing to believe the Pentagon that this is more defensive in nature and it's not a direct attack?
Well, Pentagon may say a lot of things, but we need not believe them. Because if they were defensive in nature, then there will not be aggressive moves of their aircraft carrier and other warships. Besides, all the fighter aircraft, refueling aircraft, which are being moved from one place to the other. So it's certainly not defensive. It is preparation for a bigger strike, because if reports are to be believed, Trump was given the impression by his advisors that we will not be able to guarantee a victory at the current level of our preparation. So I think that they are waiting for the right moment when their forces are in place to the required extent, and along with Israel, they are reasonably confident that they'll be able to overwhelm Iran. Iran, on the other hand, is hoping that they will also put boots on ground, because that is when the quagmire starts for America.
Right.
Another pointer which must be noted is
Gee.
that Houthis had made life miserable for all the floating platforms a couple of years back.
Correct.
So America should not forget that Iran was the one which was supplying Houthis with the missiles, and now they have much better missiles. So it's going to be a contest which I hope Trump had not bargained for.
But Trump has been advised that it's not going to be as easy as Venezuela. He's also, moved a lot of the U.S. forces towards and surrounded Venezuela. So moving them from the Caribbean, it's not going to be so easy. Iran has more than 2,000 ballistic missiles, and they have the ability to commit harakiri. General Pandey, how do you see this panning out? Because this movement, the strike deployment and this carrier strike group will take at least 5 days to get there, 4.5 to 5 days. So not before Tuesday will they be there within firing range of Iran's assets.
Yeah, so firstly, I think Gavraji has said very clearly a couple of points, but we have to see, is it Iran versus US, or is it Iran plus Houthi plus number of IS versus America plus elements which are available in the paramilitaries available in Syria, because this essentially will become a Shia versus Sunni contest. As I'll not say it'll be a forceful one, but there'll be certain degree of fallout of this, because eventually if some support is required on the ground and boost on the ground is required, their American SF special forces are extremely good to actually exploit SS on the ground. And if you see this example of Lion Rise, which was done by Israelis, the Iranians were just not able to actually stop what happened from within the country, and therefore it implies there's some effect on the ground which is available for the Americans and Israelis to enable the strikes to continue. My only worry is that with Lion Rise happening and Midnight Hammer having happened, and it has taken about nearly 2.5, 3 weeks in which these protests are happening, the regime must have come down quite heavily, and number of collaborators plus more would have been removed from the site. But you see, the problem with Trump is that he's committed, right? He has committed not only by moving this the carrier strike group, but also having made a very, very open statement that he's going to come heavily. While this last 2 days, this fluctuation which has taken place is maybe a strategic surprise. And if he doesn't go whole hog, the whole democratic system or coming to safeguard people's movement, while these are all couching, okay?
Right.
Frankly, Trump is not interested in Iranians. It is not interested in Iran. This is all about control. Today, Russia is locked out into one corner. European Union is fragmented, exposed, absolutely in the world. The only power which they required to control, and the stepwise control happening, is in China, in terms of relevance of dollars, in terms of exchange, in terms of energy, and in terms of influence, right? The only standing ally or some sort of a element besides North Korea to China is Iran, right? And this is all about stamping that number one status. So, but Iran is not a pushover, right? Please understand that the Lion Rise was very effective as a strategic surprise, in which the entire cyber system was stalled. Top military leaders of IRGCs and all were neutralized. The ballistic missile systems were neutralized, but yet all the multi-layered AD system which was protecting Israel across that distance, flying over 1,500 meters, were breached by IRGC. It was a modicum of mutual pullback which took place when midnight hammer happened by Americans, and that also happened because Benjamin wanted that to happen and he was really able to push. This pushback happened by a symbolic strike which was carried out on
Yes.
American bases, and if you recall, the troops and the elements of American elements had moved out, or they were well under cover, and some symbolic strike was carried out with a few missiles
Yes.
falling off and one
And
falling
Iran
very
claimed
nearby.
victory. The
Yeah,
Khamenei regime claimed
yeah,
victory.
everybody claimed victory. So there's a whole game which is played, but I have a feeling that this is a very, very long-term strategic game play by the Americans. There's a wonderful thing happening. A lot of lessons for us to actually understand that what is, if it happens in next about 10 days, this will be possibly one of the best military strategic strike which will happen.
Right.
But they have to understand here they are dealing with 11th powerful military in the world, which is extremely ruthless. So they will actually have to go with latest of the systems to actually stall their entire cyber networks, target not only the IRGC headquarters and the elements, but
Right.
more importantly, target everything which can fly off on these cyber or digital supported elements, and therefore this will be a possibility. Yes, there's a popular support. The major part, and I think Dograji will be more able to illustrate
Right.
on that. There is no option to take over. The Khomeinis go. Raza
Well,
Pahlavi is
interestingly,
also not a very-
interestingly, it may not even be Raza Pahlavi, but there are about
Yeah.
10 million Iranians who fled Iran after the regime, and they are well entrenched across policy and this one ability across the country, across the globe, who are actually willing to come back and push Iran back on track. And these are all seasoned individuals who will surface if the Americans are able to do a short but sharp regime change, and that will have to be coordinated at 5 different fingers will have to do work simultaneously to make that punch. Dr. Ranganathan, do you see that happening?
Well, just to answer you, haters may disagree, but there is a distinct similarity in the way Narendra Modi and Trump work. Nobody has been able to guess who Modi chooses as the state chief minister. And nobody has been able to guess which next country is Trump going to attack. I dare say you can take an acid test, Anand, and ask a BJP spokesperson, name the chief ministers of Madhya Pradesh, of Chhattisgarh, of Rajasthan, of Odisha. They might get one or two right, but no. But look, on a more serious note, let us be under no illusion that it is a despotic dictatorial regime bordering on being an evil regime. So there is no question that it has to go. Now, is this the right time and is this the right way to let it go? Is this the only despotic regime? Hypocrisy aside, please remember that it's not just about Shia or Sunni. You have the specter of one of the biggest, most brutal terrorist organizations, the Shia Hezbollah, siding with the Sunni brutal Hamas. In fact, Iran is sponsoring both Hamas, which is Sunni, and Hezbollah. So when it comes to them identifying a common enemy, they unite. It's not Shia Sunni anymore. Now, when you try and drive a wedge between it, you immediately identify yourself as a common enemy. And I dare say, you look at Kashmir right now, and I don't know how many of protesters on the street, proclaiming that down with America and basically imploring India to support the Khamenei. I don't know how many of them are Shia, how many of them Sunni, but they have found a common enemy, and that is the issue right now.
Interesting.
As I said, I mean, my guess is as good as
but
yours.
interestingly, the Pakistanis who claim to be the this one symbols of brotherhood in the Muslim world are ready to offer their Noor Khan base for the Americans to try and strike at Iran. So that exposure is also there.
But now Trump has already got a Nobel Prize, so